What's going on, people? Welcome back to AFTV. You've joined us for the preview. It is Leicester versus Arsenal. Can the Gunners go fox hunting this Saturday? The Dubai trip for Mikel and the boys would have seemed like heaven, but more now like Mikel.
Oh, very good.
Thank you very much. Could it be a rude awakening for Arteta and the board if we don't score a goal this Saturday?
Well, we've done that in lunch, have you? That's very impressive, that was. Like, you know what I mean?
Find someone that fucking likes it.
Just
You might, I don't know if Lee's trying to get more shows under his belt, but you're going the right way about it, Lee. I'll tell you that.
I don't know, Lee. Listen, Robbie, if you're watching, make sure we bring Lee on these previews more. Someone that really, he enjoyed it. He smiled at the first bit.
Bring him on more often.
Yeah, you weren't happy with it.
I'm a super sub today, like, you know what I mean?
Well, we got a lot to discuss.
Rude awakening. We've been awoken already rudely.
Yeah.
So we don't need to wait till Saturday. The fuck? How's that for poetry?
Well said, rudely
I've had a Havertz enough of this, I'll tell you.
That's enough. Here we go, all coming out. People, we are recording this on the morning of the news that Kai Havertz is out for the whole of the season due to a hamstring injury. Obviously, that is going to affect this Saturday's game. It's a 12:30 kickoff at the King Power Stadium. It's Leicester versus Arsenal. We're going to discuss it in this preview, but should we go straight there? Is that the first place to start? Well, I mean, we're obviously going to do a Predicted 11 video, so make sure you check out that on the channel. But the Dubai trip, Lee, after the Newcastle game, I asked you, I was like, do you think the boys, deserve to be going on a rest into Dubai? And you a bit aggrieved about it, but you understand the players played a lot of football. You thought they'll be going for a break. Now they've come back and we're less than what we left with. It's a bit embarrassing, if you must say.
Yeah, pointless exercise, you know what I mean? I thought it was to rest, recuperate, do a little bit of training, but I'm hearing it was intense training and that's what's done it and all that, like, And did they really need to have intense training? Not really. It's just, listen, I get last season's trip up to Dubai because it was like a winter break.
Yeah.
This one was because we went out the FA Cup. I sat there watching all the FA Cup games, and it was, fantastic to watch, like teams going out and whatever, and teams like Forest having to really battle, Newcastle, who, by the way, stuffed us, battling really hard at Birmingham, etc., etc. And then I'm seeing us, our players on the beach having a laugh and everything like that. Then you come back and you see Kai Havertz has been out for the rest of the season, so that went well.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not good, and we have to kind of start there. I'm gonna have to ask you as well, Turkish. I mean, Lee's right. You think you go over to warm weather training to relax, cool off? Yeah, you do a bit of training, but I saw them do open training sessions. That's normally light. Sign some autographs. But I then heard they were doing intense pressing, and that's how Havertz got a hamstring injury, and now he's out for the rest of the season.
I don't mind that it's intense training because I don't like the fact or hearing that it's a break or rest because of what Lee said. We're at the FA Cup. So I don't mind that it's intense training, but I feel like our attackers needed an extra layer of protection. Yeah. And listen, I'm not Havertz's biggest fan, but he does work hard. He does, run himself into the ground. And, recently the images were circulating of him finished after a game. I think it was the Wolves game. So with the attackers, there should have been a light touch because we're very, very, very... Well, we were very fragile in that we're smashed now. I mean, fragile going into the break, and now we're broken. How can you go into a break and leave broken? Because now we've only got 3 attackers, one of which is finished and hasn't really been given his chance at this club because he's a loan that came in on the last day. Just anybody, right? But not just anybody in January.
I'd love that in January. Yeah, right
here
now,
we are with having to rely on someone we haven't relied on all season, a youngster that we shouldn't be relying on. And Trossard, who went into the season as one of the best backups in the league, and over the season, that tag has kind of left him because he's no longer been a backup because we've had to, put him in the first team so often this season. So we've kind of lost what he brings off the bench. Now we've just got those 3. Come on, I mean, it's bad luck for sure. It's bad luck, but it's also poor squad management. It's a mix. Okay, let's look at the game in full. Obviously, Leicester. Do you feel like this game? Because before the injury, I thought we have enough to beat Leicester City. Even after this injury, you look at Leicester sitting 18th position. They haven't won too many games this season as well. You'd think you still have enough. I need to ask you both: is this going to feel like more of a, they're at the bottom fighting to stay up? Is it going to be more of a, relegation scrap for them, and it's going to be a tough game for Arsenal, or do you still think Arsenal have enough to
be comfortable and get this over the line, even with the players that they got left with, Lee?
No, they've not got enough now. This is where Mikel's got to earn his money now. This is where I think he's got to change the system now. You've got to probably go like 4-5-1. You ain't got enough attackers. You can't play 3 up front no more because there's no subs.
But is it fair to say that against Wolves, though, they went down to 10 men and we still got it over the line? So surely Arsenal's quality would prevail when it comes to Leicester or not?
Yeah, but you had Havertz in that team then. You had Martinelli in that team. They're not there no more. So you're going with Wanyeri, who I think is fantastic. But, like as you said, Sterling, couldn't get in Chelsea's team. He hasn't been out getting Arsenal's team, let's be honest, And Havertz, as much as you don't like him, he does give you a little bit of presence up there, which we haven't got. He might not give you the goal ratio, but he gives you a bit of presence and all that, And listen, it's not about. I've heard a lot of people going, people don't rate Havertz and whatever. It's not about that. It's about numbers. What you've got now is you're going into Leicester, West Ham, every single game we play in Champions League as well, with those 3 players, every single game, every single minute, because no one can be rotated in and out of that 3 now. You're going with them for the whole majority of the season. So listen, get your seat belts on, strap in, because it's going to be a very, very difficult, bumpy ride. It's going to be a lot bumpier than when we went to Spain the other week. I'll tell you, So listen, they've put themselves in this position, and I'll be really honest with it. We should never be in this position where we're gambling, and we've gambled. Arsenal Football Club, big Emirates Stadium. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
a big club.
We've gambled, and it's a failure. Listen, I'll sit here now. If those injuries happened in February, everybody's fit. It's bad luck. Yeah. Right. But you had a transfer window when you had 2 of those players down. You had to go in there and
do business.
And I think now, I look at that front 3. There's better teams in the bottom half of the table and even in the relegation zone that have got a better front 3 than us now. So I think every single game now we're going to have to defensively work very, very hard in midfield. And we're going to have to scrape 1-0 wins, 2-1 wins and things like that. Like, it's as simple as that,
It's crazy, watching Man City, Real Madrid last night and all their attacking options and all them players, you're thinking, bloody hell, these men are playing playoffs to get into where we are in the Champions League. And look at their front line, and now you look at ours and you think, you couldn't fathom the situation Arsenal are in right now. Honestly, I cannot believe it. And just let me ask you both, I'm going to come to you about what sort of game you expect to see, Turkish, but how many times in the last 5 do you think Arsenal have beaten or lost to Leicester in the last 5 times we played them? How many times do you think we've won?
Probably all 5.
Last 5 times. Didn't they get promoted last? Does that stretch across?
The last 5 times we met them.
But that stretches to.
I think 2020. I've got it here.
Beat them last year.
2021. Stretches down to 2021.
Beat them in the big games. We've definitely won 3. So I'm going to say 5.
Oh my. Okay. You're right. We haven't lost it. We've beaten them every time. The reason why I asked this question, because I thought Leicester would always cause us problems. Maybe because I always think Vardy scores against us, but I always thought, looking back, I didn't know until I watched back. I was like, yeah, you're right. We beat them 4-2 last time we played them. That was obviously at home this season. 1-0 in 2023. We beat them 4-2 again in 2022. 2-0 2022, and then 2-0 again in 2021. But yeah, so Leicester, when I said about, do you think it's going to be a relegation scrap where Leicester are going to cause us problems? It always seems like we get the upper hand over Leicester. And then, like I mentioned to Lee, he did say, right, we didn't have Havertz and Martinelli against Wolves, but we were 10 men down and we still got the job done. Do you still expect Arsenal to be somewhat comfortable in this game, or is it going to be difficult?
We can't be comfortable in any game now when you look at our attack, because we don't have anything off the bench. So you cannot be comfortable. So listen, it's Leicester, it's a newly promoted side. But at the same time, we're away from home. Some will argue we're better away from home, or as good, or whatever it is. But Vardy will have that whole, what Vardy's about. Especially when he plays in the big teams, and he could be another indicator of a striker. A striker in the game. What a striker can do.
He might say, "Sign me." He might do a celebration. He's doing this to Tottenham. He might be like, "What about me at 30, whatever age?"
Well, he rejected us once upon a time.
He did.
So that could have been a reality, but it wasn't. Listen, Leicester are going to pose their threats. I think that, they're going to be up for it. And to be honest with you, February's still a bit early, but every year, I think pretty much every season in the Premier League, March, April, you start seeing the teams in the relegation scrap pick up wins out of nowhere, surprise wins.
Yeah.
So, it might be a bit early now, but they're definitely going to be up for it. Home team, Arsenal attack, nothing to be worried about in reality. Midfield even this season hasn't been, the most free-flowing. Rice has been, definitely his form recently has been, he's trying. But the midfield is not clicking as much as even the attack we talk about, and the emphasis is there. But the midfield is still some way off it as well.
Yeah, it's tough because I can't do this preview as well. Say if Robbie was sat here, he'd be pointing fingers at you saying, Patson Daka plays for the blah, blah. But I want to make it clear that I know that argument was around Daka and Eddie.
Yeah.
And I looked at Daka's numbers. He's got 1 goal this season, but then I looked at Eddie's and I'm like...
He's got 0, but that's not me justifying that. Robbie likes to frame it like I said Daka would save us. No, I said Leicester have just bought a better backup than us in Daka. That's all I said, but it is what it is.
I just wanted to have clarity on that.
Now we don't have anything anyway. We don't even have an Eddie to compare to anyone else's backup because we don't even have a striker, let alone a backup striker.
My Vet's team have got better backup than forwards than us at the moment. We ain't got none.
Yeah,
we ain't got none.
We haven't got a backup striker now. If one of them gets injured,
let's save that for the Predicted 11, which we're going to get to, because I think we're going to have some laughs on Predicted 11. Because if you don't laugh, you're going to cry. Just finally as well, obviously we'll talk about the players that are returning for player that's returning for Arsenal and who's available for Leicester when we do that Predicted 11 video. Just quickly, a draw is not acceptable, but does it feel like where you're sat right now today, that this could be the beginning of a complete downfall for Arsenal? That sounds very negative, but was in 2 cups before the start of the January window. 4, sorry.
What was my fan cam titled after United? Beginning and the end.
Yeah.
It was really the beginning of the end was Sterling, because that really, when we look back, that really showed their hand. But
no, but yeah, that could have went another way. It didn't.
Going out to United after getting beat at home by Newcastle that week, and after seeing just over 2 weeks of nothing from this club in the transfer window, that was the beginning of the end this season. Not the injuries that have followed since. That is bad luck mixed with poor squad management.
Yeah, and then for you, Lee, because I feel like it's quite a negative question, but where you're sat today, if any points are dropped against Leicester, you don't have surely you have no faith going in for the Premier League title with Liverpool might slip up tonight against Everton, and then Champions League is still a massive, with the front line that we have, it's a massive ask.
It's a matter of if than when, or when and when if, or whatever. Yeah. It's a matter of when.
Yeah.
It's a matter of when. We might scrape past Leicester.
That when could be, I don't know when this comes out. The when could have come and gone. Liverpool play Everton in a few hours. If it's 9 points on top of all these injuries,
that game means nothing to me now.
Come on, man.
I'll be nothing to me, because at the end of the day, January was a time, lessons surely were learnt a couple of seasons back when we didn't back, but obviously not. And I don't care what anybody says. You can slag me off and whatever. As a season ticket holder that pays a lot of money to go watching Arsenal, and it's not about winning, because I've been watching Arsenal when they've had no chance of winning things. It's not about that. We was in a position going into January the 1st having a chance of winning 4 trophies. All right, 4 trophies. Yeah. If you strengthen the squad big enough and strong enough, you can compete in all of those competitions. We didn't. Yeah. And I, as a fan, paying fan, and listen, if you watch it on telly, you're getting paid, you're paying your subscriptions. I feel that football club has let me down. Okay. And if I feel let down, what do those players feel? They surely feel the same.
Yeah.
And so listen, you got to back the team. I'll back the players because they deserve it, because it's not their fault. But Mikel and that owners, if I'll be really honest, I've got no time for them no more. Like, you know what I mean? They've really let me down. We've gone out of 2 cups. We've seen 2 players, one before the transfer window, one during the transfer window go down, and now we've seen 2 players go out after the transfer window.
It's crazy. The players have been overworked before, and now they're going to be even more pushed because they've got such little numbers in the squad. Let's do score predictions before we end. Lee, Turkish, to start with, the guest super sub that we haven't got on Saturday, but super sub Liam for today. What's your score prediction?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's 0-0, 2-0 to them and all that, but going with me heart, I'm going to go, we'll win it 1-0.
1-0 Turkish. Give me a. Don't do 2-2. Give me
I'm actually thinking 2-2.
No, but do you believe 2-2 though?
I don't know what I believe.
Who's scoring 2 goals for Arsenal this weekend? You got to let.
But that's the fucked up thing. That's the question rather than who's scoring 2 for Leicester. You don't
2
ask
own
me who's
goals.
scoring 2 for Leicester. Well, set pieces maybe. Gabriel's still about. He's one of our top scorers.
But yeah, Ben White's coming back, so that could be a. You know what I mean?
Might come with
2-2.
2-2. You seem so fed up.
I am fed up.
2-1 Arsenal. That I couldn't even tell you. Yeah, set pieces. We're going to go with that one. So 2-1 to Arsenal for me. I feel like we should still be able to get the job done regardless, even though that shouldn't paper over the cracks. That's what's going on right now. But that is it for the score predictions and the preview for the Leicester vs Arsenal game. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and watch all the content and build up to this game because there's plenty coming out, especially around this Havertz now for the rest of the season. And don't forget, we are live every day at 7 p.m. So make sure you stay tuned to all the content. We'll see you soon.